I am in the fish room in the Tingatella lab, and I want to introduce you to a good friend of mine. Here is Whitley.
Hi guys.
So Whitley is actually studying these fish for her PhD, so she'll be a doctor very soon. And Whitley, tell us a little bit about these fish.
So the fish that I work with are called three-spine sticklebacks, and they're called that because they have these three very sharp spines on their back so they can stick up when a predator is trying to get them. But what I'm really interested in and working with these fish is really how parents and the interactions between parents and their babies or their offspring, how that can impact offspring for the rest of their lives. So that's kind of principally what I'm interested in.
So
we answer all sorts of questions in here.
Why would the dads affect them? Don't they just like give sperm and disappear?
No, so these fish are really cool because they're one of several different species of fish where the dad is actually the one that takes on all the parental care. So the female, she just produces eggs, the male builds a nest in the sand, and then he gets a really pretty like body coloration, like a blue eye and a red throat, and then he'll do these courtship dances to try to impress females. And if a female likes him, she'll lay her eggs in his nest. But after that, the female swims away and she's done. And the dad does everything else from there.
Cool. So what's your favorite thing about being a scientist?
Oh man, there are a lot of things I like about being a scientist. I think one of the things is that I get to come up with really cool questions and test them all by myself. And often, that means as a scientist, you are the first person to discover something, in the whole world. Nobody else has even seen it or thought of it before, which is really cool. But I guess some other aspects I really like as a grad student, and I know it's sort of consistent if you become a professor in other areas of academia, that you get to make your own schedule. So for the most part, I get to decide when I want to come into the lab. And that's really cool for me. I love that.
Great. And do you get to travel? Where are these fish from?
So all of our stickleback fish we collect in Washington, the state of Washington. And so we go out once a year, usually at the end of May, and we'll go to different rivers in Washington and bring back probably 500 or 600 fish to Denver and put them in the lab here.
Cool.
And so it's really cool. One thing that we recently got to do to collect some fish and to access a part of a river that was hard to get to is we actually got to do some stand-up paddle boarding. So we had to take paddle boards out to our location and trap fish and collect them there. So that was really cool. That was a fun experience. And I would say that not just science, but biology specifically, one of the things that I really like about biology is that I use every science when I'm doing biology. So I have to deal with chemistry and physics and math. And I might be doing some sort of arts and crafts project to build an experiment one day and doing some really cool statistics another day. So I think biology is fun in that it's very variable in what you might be working with on a given day. So it's very exciting. It never gets boring.
Is this brass an arts and craft project?
Yes, that is one arts and crafts. And these weird round sort of balls here, those are actually nylon pantyhose that we fill with coral and we tie them off, and that just helps with water clarity and keeping the pH of the water where we want it.
Nice.
So making random stuff sometimes.
Some chemistry and pantyhose. Well, thank you so much, Whitley.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Out.